Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a total obsession that honestly dictates the daily lives of millions of people. I mean, we hear about them constantly, right? We stress over exactly how many of them are hiding in that chocolate chip cookie we just ate. We wonder how many of them are actually burned off by doing 100 jumping jacks or pushing through a brutal long-distance run. We are, of course, talking about calories. Okay, let's dive right into this. Because, it's not just that grueling 5-mile run that matters. Even the absolute smallest movements, like bouncing your lead or just fidgeting at your desk, impact the equation. But what actually is a calorie, really? Well, at its core, a calorie is simply a unit of measurement. It's basically a way of keeping track of your body's energy budget. A healthy balance happens when we put in about as much energy as we lose. If we consistently put more energy into our bodies than we burn off, that excess gets gradually stored as fat in our cells, and we gain weight. If we burn off more energy than we replenish, we lose weight. It sounds incredibly simple, right? Energy in, energy out. So to track this energy budget, everything we eat comes with a calorie count. This number is quite literally a measure of how much potential energy an item stores within its chemical bonds. For instance, an average slice of pizza holds about 272 calories of stored energy, totally locked up in its fats and carbohydrates. Then you've got a standard piece of whole grain bread sitting at roughly 78 calories. That's 78 little units of energy just waiting to be unlocked and processed by your digestive system. Grab a fresh apple, you're looking at about 52 calories added to your daily allowance. But hold on, before we get into how your body actually extracts these numbers, we need to ask, what do these numbers actually represent in strict physical terms? To really get this, we've got to look at the strict physics definition. When we talk about food calories, we are technically talking about what scientists call a large calorie. By definition, one large calorie is the precise amount of energy it takes to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by exactly 1 degree Celsius. That is what you're eating, units of measurable thermal energy. And when that energy is released during digestion, it's stored in other molecules that can be broken down to provide power whenever your body needs it. Section 1. Your body's energy budget. Let's figure out where all this fuel actually goes. Once we consume this thermal energy, the body acts like a highly efficient accountant. Every single calorie released during digestion must be spent or put into savings, which, as we know, means fat storage. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how your body spends its daily allowance. Your energy budget is divided into 3 main categories. First, about 10% of your energy goes right back into the process of digestion itself. Breaking down food is hard work. Second, about 20% fuels your physical activity, so walking, lifting, running. But look at that massive remaining slice. A staggering 70% of your energy budget goes to something entirely out of your conscious control. Yep, that massive 70% chunk, that is your basal metabolic rate, or BMR. This is the sheer amount of energy your body requires simply to survive. I mean, even if you were just lying perfectly still in bed, not moving a single muscle, and not digesting any food, your organs and tissues still require a massive amount of energy just to keep your heart beating, your lungs breathing, and your brain functioning. Moving on to Section 2, the daily requirement myth. Because, spoiler alert, one size absolutely does not fit all. When you take that basal metabolic rate and add in an average amount of physical activity and digestion, you get the foundation for our official dietary guidelines. You've definitely seen these numbers plastered everywhere. They state that the average person requires a specific daily intake, generally estimated at 2,000 calories for women and 2,500 calories for men. But should everyone watching this rigidly shoot for exactly those numbers? Uh-oh, not even close. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how insanely fast those standard guidelines just completely fall apart under extreme conditions. Look at the stark contrast here. While the average man or woman hovers in the low 2000s, someone participating in a seriously energy-guzzling activity, like cycling the Tour de France, could demand up to 9,000 calories per day. Their physical activity slice of the pie chart just explodes, completely shifting their baseline requirement. But hey, it's not just elite athletes out there. Different life stages totally rewrite the baseline. Pregnancy, for example, obviously requires slightly more calories than usual to support a growing life. On the flip side, elderly folks typically have a naturally slower metabolic rate. Their energy is burned far more gradually, meaning their baseline requirement for survival drops, and simply fewer calories are needed. Which brings us to Section 3, beyond the nutrition label, or what we like to call the extraction illusion. All right, this is where we get into the biggest, probably best kept secret about counting calories. The numbers printed on the back of your food packaging,
they're not telling you the whole truth about what happens inside your body. Take a look at this comparison. On paper, 100 calories of celery and 100 calories of potato chips look absolutely identical to your daily budget. But remember how digestion takes up 10% of your energy? Fibrous foods like celery and whole wheat are tough. They take significantly more energy to break down and digest. Because your body has to work so much harder to process the celery, you actually wind up extracting far less net energy from it than you would from a 100-calorie serving of easily digestible potato chips.
So the crucial point here is captured perfectly in this quote. Calorie counts measure the energy food contains, not the energy you can actually get out of it. This is a fundamental flaw in how we usually interpret standard packaging. The label tells you what's in the box, sure, but it literally cannot tell you what your specific digestive system will effectively extract.
Plus, and this is absolutely crucial, identical calories do not equal identical nutrients. Period. Some foods offer vital building blocks like proteins and vitamins, while others, like those potato chips, provide fast energy but virtually no nutritional value. If you ignore nutrients and strictly count calories, eating too many of those empty calories could lead to a highly dangerous biological state, literally leaving you overweight yet simultaneously malnourished.
Let's move inward and see how this builds when we look at our own individual microscopic biology. Because get this, even if two people eat the exact same food, they might not extract the same number of calories. Your unique ability to pull energy from a meal is dictated by highly personal variations. We're talking things like your personal digestive enzyme levels, the specific makeup of your gut bacteria, and incredibly, even the exact physical length of your intestines. Every single individual's extraction factory is built just a little bit differently. Ultimately, look, a calorie is undeniably a super useful metric for understanding our general energy budget. But calculating your true, exact caloric needs requires factoring in a really dynamic combination of variables. 1, the specific amount of exercise you're doing. 2, the physical structure and type of the food you're eating. And 3, your body's highly individual, biologically unique processing ability. Which leaves us with this final thought. Good luck finding all of that complex, highly personalized biological data neatly printed on a simple nutrition label, right? The truth is, while labels give us a decent starting point, your body is infinitely more complex, fascinating, and dynamic than a simple math equation. So listen to your body, look way beyond the numbers, and prioritize real nutrition over an illusion of control.